in the 213-818 and 310 area codes, 520-1-KFI. Anyplace else, 1-800-767-4-KFI.
KFI Los Angeles, more stimulating talk radio.
AP Network News, good morning. I'm Larry Brown. The House Judiciary Committee, now chaired by a Republican, begins work today on the GOP-backed plan to amend the Constitution to require Congress to balance the budget. Democrats are arguing against it, challenging the Republicans to first spell out exactly what programs would be cut or taxes raised to achieve that goal. Duking it out yesterday on the Sunday talk shows, Democrats accused the Republicans of fairy tale economics. Republicans accused the Dems of trolling with a red herring, saying the amendment represents a commitment to making ends meet. Accused abortion clinic killer John Salvi will be arraigned in Brookline, Massachusetts today on charges of murder and assault. He's accused in shootings at 2 clinics 10 days ago. Both clinic receptionists were killed. 5 other people were wounded. At services yesterday in Salvi's hometown, Hampton, New Hampshire, Episcopal priest Warren Dean appealed for an end to violence.
We need to learn to live with people while we disagree, without hurting them.
Both clinics are getting back in business. The Planned Parenthood clinic reopened Friday and has already performed some abortions. Brookline's preterm health services plans to see patients again starting today, but for now, according to a spokeswoman, will not be performing abortions. Hundreds of people are being chased from their homes by rising rivers in Northern California. Forecasters expect more trouble all week as more storms move in off the Pacific. Florida plans to seek federal disaster help in the cleanup from weekend tornadoes. Governor Lawton Childs inspected the damage yesterday in Bellevue, Florida.
Everybody's been so wonderful to help each other.
Well, we want to try to help
really are.
all we possibly can. So.
Well, Marion County people have really been terrific.
Well, those are always the people in the front line. They're always going to do it. So we'll try to back them up if we can.
New York City police have arrested a suspect into the weekend killings at a condo in Queens. They say they're focusing on drugs, revenge, and robbery. This is AP Network News. Another professional sports season is now just one day away from being wiped out. National Hockey League players have rejected what the team owners said was their final proposal. The head of the Players Association and the hockey commissioner plan one final try today to rescue the season. Will fans get one? Boston Bruins president Harry Sinden is still hopeful they will.
I happen to think we are. I didn't feel that. I've been a bit of a pessimist on this, but now that the owners have agreed to go back with a counter proposal that doesn't contain a salary cap or a salary tax of any type, I think we could play.
Pope John Paul, already the most traveled pope in history, heads out on another pilgrimage this week. He begins an 11-day trip to Asia. The Pope's been in frail health in recent months, particularly hampered by a slow-healing right leg broken in a fall last spring. He had to cancel a visit to the U.S. in October. He also had to cancel a trip to Sarajevo, but for security reasons, not health. The Bosnian truce is fragile but holding after talks Sunday between a Bosnian Serb military leader and the UN commander. The Serbs are demanding that government troops pull back from a strategic position overlooking Sarajevo. 8 flights to Sarajevo resumed yesterday. They had been stopped for a day after bullet holes were found in 2 UN planes. U.S. Defense Chief William Perry, continuing his Middle East trip, travels to northern Israel for a look at the Golan Heights with the strategic plateau captured by Israel during the 1967 war. Syria wants it back as a condition for peace. Reporters asked Perry if U.S. troops will be sent there as part of a deal.
The discussion of deployment of troops is entirely premature. We do not yet have a peace plan, and we particularly don't have a plan for how peacekeeping forces might be deployed there. So,
speaking yesterday in Jerusalem, Perry also warned against the spread of atomic weapons. He said the U.S. is very much concerned that Iran might become a nuclear power. He said if the spread of nuclear weapons is not halted, the world could be in for nuclear blackmail from rogue nations and terrorists. Russian forces are again hammering Chechnya's capital Grozny with rocket and artillery fire, but have still not broken up the rebellion. The continued civilian casualties appear to be eroding congressional support for Russia's President Boris Yeltsin. Vice President Gore says the U.S. still supports him as the democratic leader of Russia, but is concerned about the war.
It's a tragic series of events in this part of Russia called Chechnya. We've urged an end to the violence and an emphasis on negotiations as the way to settle this matter. We've made specific recommendations along with our European allies on how they might change course there.
Newt Gingrich's mom says she can't understand all the fuss over the unflattering words she quoted him as saying in her interview with TV's Connie Chung last week. But in a new TV interview, this one with the syndicated American Journal, she says Chung promised not to air the remark and considers her two-faced for broadcasting it anyway. I'm Larry Brown, AP Network News.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Miller, and I want to talk to you about domestic violence. Studies show that whether they're physically abused or not, children in violent homes suffer tremendously. Sudden bursts of anger, nightmare, bedwetting, lack of concentration, acting out violently against schoolmates and family members may mean that your child is suffering from violence in the home. Saddest of all, 3/4 of the men who batter their female partners saw their mother being beaten when they were children. Stop the cycle of violence. For more information, call the Los Angeles County Domestic Violence Council at 310-393-6676. This has been a public service announcement from KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio.
I longed for my old wax problem, and I still do. I hear too much, and I don't like it. It's not good. John and Ken today at 3 on KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio.
Scott and Casey.
Hey, baby. Yeah. Hey, baby. Damn, we're smooth.
KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio. Thank you for tuning in to the Scott and Casey Show. He's Scott and I'm Casey. It's 1:06 on a Monday morning, and this is where you get to tell it like it is on the lowest rated talk show in Southern California.
Scott and Casey with you until 5 o'clock in the morning, and then after the news at 5, Bill Handel's back. 9 o'clock, Rush Limbaugh right here on KFI AM640.
Coming up after the news at 2 o'clock, a court is going to review the right of a Boston group to a Boston sponsor to exclude a group of homosexuals from the St. Patrick's Day parade.
Irish American gays.
Oh, they're the worst.
They wanted to show their Irish pride.
You know, gay people is bad enough, but them Irish American gays. I'm kidding, of course. And we're going to talk about that.
I'm really angry. I totally forgot to tell you this. Earlier this week, I think it was Wednesday.
Sure, Scott. Sure.
Okay, I will. No, earlier this week, I was in Old Town Pasadena. Just on at this eatery place called T. Rose Garden, right off the.
No, you're not going to defame this place.
Colorado. No, it has nothing to do with T. Rose Garden. They're a great place. It was right off of Colorado Boulevard, and I'm sitting there. They have tables outside, so I'm sitting there on the street eating lunch, and this guy walks up to me, and he goes. He starts giving me this big convoluted story about how he was homeless and he needed to go to a shelter, but the only shelter that was available was the YMCA in Glendale or something like that. And so I'm going, well, whatever. And I don't usually give money, but basically he said, I need $5 so that I can get there. And I'm like, I'm not going to give you $5. So I reach into my pocket and I go, well, I got a couple of quarters here. Do you want them? And he goes, okay, I'll take them. And I was there with my girlfriend at the time, and he goes, how about the lovely lady here? And I said, no, she doesn't have anything.
And you said, yeah, take her too.
Hey, but seriously. I go, no, she doesn't have anything. And he goes, and he starts sighing, I felt like saying, give me my money back. And I didn't. And he finally goes, all right, thank you very much. And he walks away, and I see him accosting other people. It wasn't until later, by the way.
Tackling them, throwing them, give me $5.
It wasn't until later that I noticed that he happened to be wearing a nice silk shirt and expensive shoes. I didn't notice that right away.
Goodwill's getting higher class.
Yeah, I guess. So after he asks all these other people, he walks by my table again, and he looks at me and he glares at me, and he goes, it's because I'm black, isn't it?
That you only gave him 50 cents?
Yes!
Oh.
And I was shocked. My mouth fell to the floor.
See, that's what they do, though. That's what they do.
I couldn't believe it, because you know what? My first thought was, I'm not giving him anything. But then I thought, what the hell? I'll give him 50 cents. Why not? It's not going to hurt me. Maybe it'll help him, whatever.
I never give money to those people.
Well, neither do I, usually, and never again will I ever. I couldn't believe it. And I stand up, and I'm like, I was so shocked. I wanted to say, give me my 50 cents back. But I couldn't get the words out.
You were scared. You were frightened.
Well, I wasn't sure what he could do. I didn't know if he had a gun or anything, but I was just like, I couldn't believe it. And so then he goes across the street and he starts asking these other guys. And so I shout at the top of my lungs. I go, "Don't give him anything!" Like that. And everybody looks at me.
Don't give him anything. He's black.
No, I know. Seriously. No, but I just couldn't believe that. I gave him something and it wasn't enough. And he had the nerve to come back to me and say that.
That's what they do. All those guys. You look at, he was trying to guilt you into doing it by trying to, a veiled attempt at calling you a racist. But, they hold up the sign, AIDS veteran from World War II. You see a 17-year-old kid standing there. And they try to guilt you into it.
But that doesn't guilt me into anything. Can you call me a racist? I want my money back, you bastard.
You gave him 50 cents, though.
Yeah, before he called me a racist. If you would have walked up to me and said, "Give me money, or else I'll call you a racist," I'd say, "Get the heck out of here, loser." Don't let me give you my money, give you my hard-earned money, and then turn around and try and call me a racist for not giving you enough?
We need to
Get out of my face!
We need to spend more time together.
I guess.
You need to become more like me.
Well, why? What did I do wrong?
You were just too nice. You gave him money in the first place.
I know. See, that was my first mistake.
See, if you just would have went...
And I usually,
go away.
You know what the thing is, Casey?
Away.
Usually I do. I never, I'd say I could count on one hand the amount of times in my entire life I've ever given somebody money.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one time, just for some reason, something in me snapped. I said, "I got 50 cents here. It's not going to kill me. Why not?" I was in a giving mood at the time, and look what it did.
See?
Oh, I couldn't stop talking about it for hours. I was so angry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was getting the feeling that you were going to stop talking about it here. Started wondering. 111, this is the low-rated Scott and Casey show on KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio. This hour, we're going to talk about siblings, brothers and sisters, the people you are closest to in the whole world, usually, sometimes. A lot of times, they inspire like a love-hate relationship, and it's all due to the fact that the youngest is the best.
Shut up.
Sorry. Jeez. When there's three boys, the youngest is always the best and the most loved.
Is this your way of trying to make yourself feel better for all the years of abuse?
Yeah. But we all know that, brothers and sisters fight like cats and dogs, and they go after each other. And, once you reach a certain age, there's a certain level of maturity, and then you look back and you laugh at everything.
There will be? Oh, good.
Yeah, there will be. Maybe not from you, after all the horrible things you said you did, you little snitch. But most of the time, things are done to you. Like a lot of times, there's done to the youngest child right out there in the open, and the youngest child has to do something sort of covertly to get them to where only the youngest child knows. I say this because I've done these things. When I was younger, my brothers used to beat me incessantly.
Beat you
seriously? Beat me.
Really?
Just beat the hell out of me, and they'd do things to embarrass me, and then of course I'd have to get back to them. So what we want to know from you this hour, be it brother or sister, what's the worst thing you ever did to a sibling? And what's the worst thing that you ever had done to you as a sibling? If you want to get on this early, the phone number is in the 213-818 and 310 area codes, 5201-KFI. 5201-KFI. Any place else, 1-800-767-4KFI. 1-800-767-4KFI.
You know what? I used to not actually do horrible things.
You were a snitch. You were told.
Yeah, that was it. I didn't actually beat on anybody. I just told on my sister for everything. But see, the thing is,
tell the sex story.
I did it out of love.
You did not.
I did. I didn't do it to try and get her in trouble. I did it because I maybe I'm neurotic or something, but I felt like I have to tell them.
You see, it's guys like you who give the youngest child a bad name.
I had an incredible overworking conscience.
You were probably walking around like Cindy Brady all the time. I've got a secret. I've got a secret.
There's one thing in mind that I remember very vividly is my mom had a big bowl of Halloween candy the week before Halloween up above the refrigerator, and she said, "Nobody go near this." And so I wouldn't go near it. No way. I was told I can't go near that, so I'm not going to.
You were too busy in your bedroom playing with your dollies.
Shut up. But I saw my sister one day. She pulls the chair out, stands on the chair, goes for one of those little miniaturized Hershey bars or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, you shouldn't do that. You really shouldn't do that. Mom said
God will punish you.
Mom said you can't do that. And she's like looking at me, defying me this whole time. I said, Mom said you can't do that. And she's going, what are you going to do, telling me? Well, yeah, actually, that is what I'm going to do. And I told Mom.
You told her what? Tell that other story.
Oh, about the time?
Yeah.
One time I came home from school, and I saw my sister and her boyfriend making out in the den.
How old were you?
I don't know. Maybe 12.
Oh, God, 12.
What?
Go ahead, sissy.
What? Is that too old?
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing this stuff at 12 years old. But go ahead, tell the story.
Leave me alone. I was 12 years old, and I saw my sister making out with her boyfriend in the den. And so I told my mom, that she was having sex.
Mom, I'm having sex on the table. On the table, on the car, every imaginable position, your little virginal daughter was getting. The football team, Mom.
So my parents thought she was having sex, and she wasn't.
So that was your idea. It's still your idea of sex, actually, a kiss. I had sex with my girlfriend. I kissed her. You know, when I was a kid, see, I'm the youngest of 3 boys. So I have 2 older brothers, Steve and Tom, and there's like they're like a year and a half apart, but I'm 3 years closest to the one closest to me. So I was a lot smaller.
Do I need like a slide chart to figure that one out?
It's very simple.
Okay.
So I was a lot smaller than both my brothers. And one time, my brother Tom, this is just one of many abuse stories that I have. He had put me outside. It was still sunlight out, but I was sick. I was even sick. And I had my pajamas on and everything like that. So we go out to the front yard. He says, "Come out here for a second. I want you to help me with something. I can't go outside. I'm sick, you know." I was like 9 years. I was about 9 years old. And he goes, "No, I just need your help with something real quick. Mom and Dad said it was okay."
They get you every time with that.
Mom and Dad aren't home, but apparently Tom has some sort of connection to Mom and Dad where telepathy works in there.
Right.
And so I go outside. It was like, he's like waving the newspaper at me. So come bring the newspaper in. Okay, I'll come bring the newspaper in. Whatever, I'm a dumb kid. So I go out there. And he pulls my pajamas off of me. Now, Tom's like older than me by 3 years, but he's a lot bigger than me. More muscular than I am. And he rips my clothing off of me. So it's about 5 o'clock in the evening, but it's still sunny outside. And I'm standing outside naked.
Oh, no.
And then he goes in and closes the door. So I'm standing outside naked. He locked me out, but I ran around no one was out there. I don't think anybody saw me. But, I mean, there was always the possibility they could if I was screaming like a woman. And so I had to run around the corner and jump in the bedroom window. And, of course, all my goodies are hanging out, so I'm afraid of cutting myself all over the place.
Oh, right.
But I got back at him.
How?
I was eating some candy or something. Some like Lucky Charms. I was eating Lucky Charms just like dry right out of the box. And I was sitting there, and he was eyeing the Lucky Charms. He was eyeballing the Lucky Charms. So what I did was I walked out of the room real quick, and I took my little box of Lucky Charms with me, and I put some in my pants.
Okay.
In the back area of my pants.
Oh no!
And I wandered around the house for a little while with them in there. And of course, I was a sweaty, filthy, little disgusting child. And I came back and I dug these out of my pants. And they had worked, some of them had worked their way around the back area.
Oh, yuck.
And I put them all in my hand. And I said, and I grabbed a few more lots of marshmallows in there to make it look more appealing.
Oh, God, I'm going to be sick.
Want some Lucky Charms?
Oh, no.
And he took them and he ate them.
Oh, he ate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yes!
And I hope he's not listening because he's still bigger and older than me, and I never told him that I did.
You never told him?
No, of course not.
Oh, that is just so nasty. How could you do that? That's unsanitary. That's not right.
Oh, and throwing your little brother out into the cold naked isn't unsanitary.
I would have told your mom.
Of course you would have. We were all men, though, Scott. We all acted as men, and we had to
I'm all man.
Revenge.
Listen, I'm all man. I couldn't help the fact that I only had an older sister. I'm glad because I didn't quite get the kind of beatings that younger brothers do. I mean, she tried to beat on me a lot.
When you were, when you were coming of that age, when your voice started to change and your hair started to grow on your chest and stuff like that, and you started looking at your sister, did you ever wonder?
Oh, yuck! What are you talking about? Yuck!
Well, you were told stories off the air.
Here. Oh, yuck!
Oh, so that's what we're talking about this hour. Brothers and sisters. I want to know what the worst thing you ever did to a sibling was, and what the worst thing that was ever done to you by a brother or a sister. The phone numbers in the 213-818 and 310 area codes, 5201-KFI, 5201-KFI. Anyplace else, 1-800-767-4KFI, 1-800-767-4KFI. Come back from the break. We're going to talk to Donna in Santa Maria, and we're going to take your phone calls as well.
And you can fax us at 213-385-7076.
Why do you give that number? You never even go check the fax.
I do, too, sometimes.
Sometimes.
213-385-7076. I do before every show is over, that's for sure. Every hour, too.
Oh, okay.
All right, Scott and Casey, KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio.
This is Dick Summer for Binder and Binder. Our job is seeing to it that you get the Social Security benefits that you have coming to you if you can't work because you have a physical or emotional disability. You know, sometimes you have to power up your offense when you deal with the government. And we're very good at the power sweep. Even if they've turned you down for Social Security disability benefits before, give us a call. 1-800-66-BINDER. Don't let them fake you out with the famous now you see it, now you don't paperwork double reverse. Don't let them run the clock out on you with those long lines and delaying tactics. When you're disabled and you can't work, getting your Social Security disability benefits shouldn't be one more thing for you to worry about. That's our job. We're good at it. We've been doing it for a long time. Charles Binder has the game plan.
We'll take care of everything. You have enough to worry about.
If you or someone you care about can't work because of a physical or emotional problem, call 1-800-66-BINDER for a free consultation. 1-800-66-BINDER.
If you don't have a dental plan, chances are you'll need more serious dental work done than the person who has one. It isn't fair, but it's true. People who don't have dental plans tend to miss out on regular care. On the bright side, there's Delta Dental. HMOs, PPOs, traditional plans for businesses of all sizes. Delta Dental, a major asset to protect your employees' pocketbooks and their teeth. Delta Dental. We have a plan to keep you smiling.
She's honest and tells it like it is.
Well, she's 2.5, and she's starting to learn how to try to manipulate the two of you. I wouldn't take this seriously. At 15, she's not going to want to talk to either one of you. She's going to be on the phone to her pimply girlfriends.
Dr. Laura Schlesinger, today at noon on KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio.
KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio. Thank you for tuning in to the Scott and Casey Show. He's Scott and I'm Casey. It's 1:22 on a Monday morning, and this is where you get to tell it like it is on the lowest rated talk show in Southern California.
And Southern California weather from KFI. Tonight, occasional rain and drizzle with lows in the low 50s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies with a 50% chance of rain and highs in the upper 50s to middle 60s. Right now, Big Bear at 35 degrees, Burbank, light rain in 58, Van Nuys, showers in 59, 58 degrees here in Los Angeles from KFI.
Coming up after the news at 2 o'clock, the story coming out of Washington. The Supreme Court has agreed to decide whether the longtime sponsor of Boston's St. Patrick's Day Parade should be allowed to ban homosexuals from participating.
They want to keep them homo boys out.
Yeah, it's the good old boys Veterans Party, and they think it's a free speech issue, and it's going to the Supreme Court. We're going to get your feelings on it, and that'll be coming up after the news at 2 o'clock. But this hour, we're talking about your brother and sister, and you won't like what we have to say. We've got pictures, witnesses. What's the worst thing that one of your siblings, your brother or your sister, ever did to you? And what's the worst thing you ever did back? We all enact revenge.
That's right.
Things are done wrong.
I used to tattle on my sister for everything, every little thing, whether it meant she snuck a piece of candy out that she wasn't supposed to, she watched TV when Mom said we weren't supposed to watch TV.
My God.
I narked her off left and right. But see, I wasn't vindictive about it. My reasoning behind it...
Snitch.
No, my reasoning behind it was at that age, I felt like Mom said we can't do it, and she's going to find out, and Mom needs to know this stuff. I wasn't trying to... See, maybe I was just neurotic, I guess, but I wasn't trying to get anybody in trouble.